there are a lot of cards, but I might just skim through some of them because some of them, I don't have any variants for them, or they're just not that interesting. But I will try my best to go through every card I have in my collection, and I will say this right now as a disclaimer: I do not have all the cards in the game. I will just show you guys the cards that I have. There are a lot of cards that I really wish I had, but unfortunately I just don't. And yeah, I believe with all that out of the way, guys, let's start it off. Of course, first up we get Yellow Jacket. On reveal, afflict your other cards at this location with -1 power. I won't really say too much about every card because, like I said, there's not really much I can say about a base Yellow Jacket. I don't really use them. Don't really use this ability in anything. But next up we get Ant-Man. Now I do have two variants of Ant-Man. I do have this one that does have the rainbow background that you do get by getting his base card to infinite. If you guys don't know, there's like 5 or 6 different rarities of card, and as you upgrade them, they get increased rarity, they become 3D animated, they get like this really cool border. And when you do get it to infinity, it will have this really cool animated blue border, and then you get the opportunity to split it. And when you split it, it basically becomes the base card, but it gets like a feature, I guess. It gets a feature to it. So when I split this one, it became this one with the rainbow background. If I were to split it again, it'll get something different, as you guys will see later on in the video. But yeah, that's something really cool that I like that they did add. Of course, it's ongoing. If you have 3 other cards here, he gains +3 power. Really good if you like stacking up at locations. Next up, Deadpool. When he is destroyed, you get him into your hand but with double the power. Can be really good with cards like Hulkbuster, Carnage, Venom, because his power just keeps doubling and doubling and doubling. So I know he only starts off at 1, but if you destroy him multiple times, he can become like a 1 cost to however many power, especially if, again, you use it with like a Hulkbuster. Now we get Elektra. On reveal, you destroy a random enemy 1 cost at this location. We get this really cool Hawkeye that I'm pretty sure I ended up getting for participating in the beta, or I guess you'd call it beta. It was before the full release of the game. And you get this really cool variant, which, I love the art style for it. I accidentally clicked out there, but I love the art style for it. His on reveals, if you play a card here, next turn, he gains +2 power. Of course, the base card Hawkeye. Then we get Squirrel Girl. Her on reveal is add a 1 power squirrel to each other location. Of course, you can see the squirrel here does get animated and everything, just like if you were to upgrade Squirrel Girl. Very good in Patriot decks, because that squirrel can become really strong. Now, one of my favorite cards in the game is Sunspot. At the end of each turn, he gains +1 power for each unspent energy. I absolutely love this card. First of all, this variant. Oh, dude, this variant, I love it. It is hands down his best variant. It looks so sick. Of course, I got it to infinite, which makes it look even better, but it works so well in so many decks. It's so good, especially with Infinite. If you skip on turn 5, he gets a bunch of energy. He gets a bunch of power because you're not using any energy. Then you can drop Infinite on turn 6, and oh my goodness, it's so good. Of course, the base card, and then since I got it to infinite, he split and he gets the rainbow background. Agent 13, you add a random card to your hand on reveal. She's pretty good with cards like Devil Dinosaur and whatnot, Collector even. Of course, we have my favorite variant for her that you did get in last season's Battle Pass, right before the game became full release. This one looks pretty cool. Of course, here's a split version for it. We get Angel. When one of your cards does end up getting destroyed, he basically replaces them. So let's say you have, let's say you're running a discard deck, right? Let's say you have Nova, Bucky Barnes, you drop a Carnage, and Angel's in your deck. As soon as he destroys the first card, he'll come flying in. However, if he's in your hand, he will not come flying in. That's the only downside to this card, because he's not really that strong otherwise. We have Iceman. Give a random card in your opponent's hand +1, which can be really good at disrupting cards. It doesn't give 6 cost cards +1 to make it 7, because that would be so unfair. But if you have an Iron Man that you want to drop, Iceman hits it, becomes 6 cost, kind of ruins your plans. Iron Fist, one of these staples in movement decks. On reveal, the next card you play moves to the left. Again, use this with like a Vulture, a Dagger, Human Torch. Works so well. Korg, shuffle a rock into your opponent's deck. I used to use Korg a lot, because this rock would be so disruptive, but I don't really see him used a lot anymore. Like, I used to see him a lot, but not so much anymore. Of course, we have his GB variant, which I love. I mean, it looks so cool. I usually love any variant over the base. Mantis. If your opponent plays a card here, you draw a card from their deck. All the Guardians of the Galaxy, so Mantis, Drax, Gamora, Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, they all have similar abilities where if your opponent plays a card when you play this card, they gain, they have a gain, like +1, +2 power, or Mantis here, you get to draw a card from your opponent's deck. It is pretty cool how they are all interlinked like that. Of course, we get the Captain variant of Misty Knight, who is one of the rare cards that doesn't have any abilities, she just gets a quote, "We've got to save the city." But this one was also a variant you got in last season's Battle Pass. I believe the Sword and Shield one, alongside Agent 13. If I'm not mistaken. I might be mistaken though. Oh no wait, this one might have been with Daredevil. Yeah, I don't know, they're all confusing. This is definitely my favourite Misty Knight variant. Of course, this is the base card. The Captain one split with the rainbow background. I have so many Misty Knight variants. We have a GB one. Now I will say most of these variants I get are from the Battle Pass. Because with the Battle Pass, there's certain tiers where you just get like random card variants. And somehow I just get a bunch of Misty Knight ones. I have like 3 of them. Nightcrawler. This one is split. And you can move this once, which is actually pretty good with movement decks. But it's not that good otherwise. Of course, it is base 1 up to infinite. Nova, a staple in discard decks. When he is destroyed, you give your other cards +1, which can be like a make or break in certain situations. Because, let's say, I see a lot of people run Nova, Bucky Barnes, and then they drop Carnage, and then your Carnage and your Bucky Barnes get like +1 power, depending on if you play them the right way. Now we have Quicksilver, who just starts in your opening hand. He's pretty good in pull 1, but other than that, you don't really see him outside. This is a sports variant. This was like the first variant I ever got. Bro, I was so gassed when I got him. It was so cool. Here's his base 1. Rocket Raccoon. Another Guardian of the Galaxy. If your opponent played a card here, you get +2. Like I said, they all have similar abilities. The only thing about these cards is that you kind of need to predict where your opponent's going to go. Daredevil's good for that, but you can only drop. But Daredevil's ability only works on turn 5, so I don't know if you want to hold him to that. We have Uatu the Watcher. When this is in your hand, you can see unrevealed locations, which is really good. If you get him in your hand to start, you can see all the locations, so you can basically plan ahead. He's so good. But other than that, if you get him when all the locations are revealed, he's really not that good. Pretty weak at 1 cost, 2 power. Of course, there's another variant which looks pretty cool. We have Yondu, who destroys the top card in your opponent's deck, who can be really good when you want to disrupt opponents. Because so many people, like if you destroy a card that they want, they know they can never have it back again in that game. We have Blade, discard a card from your hand, really good at discard decks of that good. We have Zero, who's a card I recently just got, whose on reveal is that you remove the abilities of the next card you play. I did show him off in a ongoing deck. So basically he's really good if you're running someone like an Ebony Maw, Red Skull, because they're all really strong cards. However, their abilities hold them back. You placed Zero down, he negates that setback, and they're just really good strong cards. And speaking of Ebony Maw, you can't play him after turn 3, so if you pull him on like a turn 4, unfortunately you just can't use him. And his ongoing that you can't play cards here, which is fair because he's a 1-cost 7 power, which is so strong. Of course, we have my favorite variant for him. This one looks so sick. Like, this one just looks so cool. Like, you can see like the galaxy in his hands. He's got people holding guns to his head. It looks so dope. I'll do the 2-cost cards. Adam Warlock, who I don't really use. At the end of each turn, if you're winning this location, you draw a card. I mean, he's kind of solid. However, you're not really gonna get much value because he doesn't cost 0. Like, it's kind of hard to win a location when he costs 0, especially so early on. Morbius, ongoing is +2 power for each time you discard a card in this game. So you can discard cards, drop him, and then he gains the power that the cards that you've discarded before he gets dropped, if you know what I mean. Again, he's pretty good with discard decks, but he's not really a staple. Angela, however, is like a number 1 2-cost card. When you play a card here, she gains +2 power. You definitely want to play her if you get her on turn 2, drop her immediately. Because if you get her, you drop her at any location, and then you can 3-stack it. So you have Angela and 3 other cards. Bro, she becomes a 7-cost, and she can become so strong. You can use her in tandem with like Nightcrawler, because you can play Nightcrawler, she gets her boost, move Nightcrawler, and that opens up a free like card slot for her to get another boost. So Angela's so good. Black Widow, her on reveals that you add Widow's Bite, and with Widow's Bite, while it's in your hand, cards can't be drawn. So basically, cards can't be drawn while it's in your hand. So if you play Black Widow, your opponent gets Widow's Bite, they can't draw any cards, which a lot of people usually just end up playing Widow's Bite the turn they end up getting it because it's a 0 cost. I mean, yeah, it fills up a lane, or it fills up a slot because it's 0 power, but they can throw it into a location and really trying to win. So I mean, it's not really the craziest card, but however, it can be annoying. Bucky Barnes, one of these staples in discard decks. When he's destroyed, Winter Soldier takes his place. Winter Soldier, 6 power. Of course, doesn't really have any abilities. However, he goes from a 2-1 to a 2-6. Really strong. Next, we have Dagger, who's really good in movement decks. When she moves to a location, she gets +2 power for each card your opponent has there. So of course, she starts off as a 2-cost 1 power. But if you move her, +2 for each card your opponent has, so she can gain +6 if your opponent has 4 cards there. And then you can move her again, maybe another like +6 or +8, excuse me, that's the most you can get. Like, she can be really strong really quickly if you move her a lot. Next, we get Forge, whose on reveals that the next card you play gains +2 power. He's not the strongest individually, only coming in at a 1 power, but his ability can make up for some of your cards being pretty weak, so he has a solid ability. Hazmat, her on reveals that you afflict all other cards with -1. That includes your cards and your opponent's cards. So I don't really understand her ability, especially considering she's a 2-cost 1 power. Like, I don't necessarily understand what makes her so good, if she even is good, but I do not use her at all. Next up, we get this really cool variant for the Collector, whose ability is that when a card enters your hand from anywhere, except for your deck, he gains +1 power. So you can use cards like Agent 13, White Queen, Sentinel, basically any other time you get a card into your hand, except for when you draw it from your you basically have to play this card and then gain a bunch of cards in order for him to have really strong power. Of course, here is his base art. Now we have Beast, whose on reveal is that you return your other cards at this location to your hand and they cost 1 less. So Beast can be a very good card to use. I believe in certain decks, none of them come to my mind off the top of my head though, but I have seen him running around in a few decks. He can be so good because basically you can make cards cost 1 less, so you can kind of just bring him back and then play him almost all at once on top of any other cards. So, I mean, it's kind of an underrated ability, but it can be really good. Oops, I accidentally clicked out of that. But this is where we were up to Beast. Of course, we have his all new variant, which is kind of weird, but looks kind of cool at the same time. Now we get Cable, whose on reveality is that you put the bottom card of your opponent's deck into your hand. Works well with like the Collector, Devil Dinosaur, like I was saying before. Pretty solid ability. We get his base, that's been split, and of course we get his young variant, which looks pretty cool. Carnage. I see a lot of people using Carnage. On reveal, you destroy your other card here, and he gains +2 for each card destroyed. A lot of people like using him with, like I was saying before, Nova. They like using him with Winter Soldier, and kind of just like throw away cards, like maybe Wasp that you really wouldn't use otherwise, just so you can get that +2, which makes him like which makes him a 2 cost 8 power, which is kind of nice. And of course we get his symbiote variant that you do get within this season's Battle Pass, which looks so cool. I love it so much. Then we get Daredevil, who on turn 5, you see what your opponent plays before you make your own, which only really works when you play him. So you've got to play him, you can't have him in your hand or in your deck or anything. You've got to play him, and then he'll show you what cards your opponent are playing, which is really strong with cards like Hobgoblin or Professor X if you want to secure a location. Like, he basically wins you a location if you play him right. Of course, this is his season variant that you did get in, I believe, 2 seasons ago when he was a new card. I mean, I love this one. This one looks sick. Of course, here it is split with the rainbow background, and here is his base art. We get Craven, whose ability is whenever a card moves here, he gains +2. Really good with movement decks. And also one thing is that if you move him and move a bunch of other cards with him, I believe he actually ends up getting the power as well. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure I've seen it work before, so he can be really good. Then we get Medusa. I haven't used Medusa in so long. I used to use her so much because she used to be pretty good at the lower pools, but not so much anymore. Her on reveal is that if you play her at the middle, she gains +2, so she becomes a 2 cost 4 power. So you essentially just always want to play her down the middle. Other than that, she's only a 2 cost 2 power. Doesn't really help otherwise. Of course, here she is split with a little sparkly effect now, because this is the second time I've split her, surprisingly. I didn't even know that. But yeah, she gets this little like sparkle animation, which is cool. You get to see it when you place her down in-game as well. She still has that rainbow background. If I go back, this is her split with the rainbow background, and this is just her base. Mr. Sinister. On reveal, he had a Sinister clone to the location he's played at with the same power. Of course, this is his clone. I use him a lot in the Patriot decks that I use, and only his Sinister clone gets the boost, but he's actually pretty good otherwise. People do use him with discard decks, like they might play Nova, Mr. Sinister, then Carnage, because Mr. Sinister, excuse me, I don't know why I was stuttering on that. He does fill up locations pretty quickly. And then we get his Pixel variant, which kind of difficult to see, but it does look really cool. Unfortunately, his clone doesn't get a Pixel variant, which is kind of unfortunate. We get Mojo, who is actually the newest card because their ongoing ability is that if both players have 4 cards here, they gain plus 6. So basically, if you and your opponent are like fighting it out for a location, you're both 4 stacking it. Play Mojo, they become a 2 cost 8 power. They do so well. Next up, we get Okoye, whose on reveal is that you give every card in your deck plus 1. Really good, especially if you do end up playing her on turn 2, and especially if you don't have the cards that you want. And especially if the cards that you want are in your deck, like let's say Infinite for example. You play Okoye and Infinite is on your deck, he becomes a 6 cost 21 power, which is nuts. So Okoye is actually really good. You do see her quite a fair amount the higher up you go. We get Scorpion, whose on reveal is that your opponent's cards in their hand get -1 power. Really good to play on turn 2 as well, because he can disrupt a lot of your opponent's cards. Especially if they have someone like an Iron Man early on. You play Scorpion, that Iron Man becomes a 5 cost -1 power card, which really stuffs them up. Star-Lord, another Guardian of the Galaxy. If your opponent played a card here, this card gains +3, similar if not the same to Rocket Raccoon, just with that extra power that he ends up getting. We have Armor, of course it's split with the rainbow background, and their ability is ongoing, and cards at this location can't be destroyed. Works really well if you're running like a destroyer deck, and let's say you have a bunch of cards at one location with Armor, and then you play Destroyer at another location. Destroyer won't destroy them because Armor has that ongoing ability. Of course, here is the chibi variant. I love this variant. And then the base card, we have Colossus. This is a variant for him. His ongoing is that he can't be destroyed or moved or have its power reduced. His power can be increased. So let's say you play a blue Marvel, he does go up to 4. He can't be destroyed, so if you play him at a location where he might get destroyed, or if someone plays a card where he gets destroyed, he doesn't just get destroyed. So he's actually a really good card to use, a very solid card. Of course, we have another variant, my favorite variant for him. It just looks so cool. We have his base card as well. This is my favorite Domino variant. You always draw her on turn 2, never before. I mean, it is pretty rare that you get her on turn 1, but basically, she's a card that you know you're going to get on turn 2, similar to America Chavez. So she's just a very solid card coming in at a 2 cost 3 power, so you can get her and play her if you want. Very solid. And here's her base. Falcon, I got him recently as well. He works really well with Beast. And if you play him, you return all 1 cost cards to your hand. There's no like power reduction or like energy reduction like Beast. However, he is a very solid card to use. Multiple Man, very good to use with movement decks because when he moves, you add a copy to where he moved from. So if you have him at the right location and he gets moved over because of like Iron Fist or Heimdall to the middle, he creates a copy of himself at the right location. So you basically have to do multiple mans. Works really well with Hulkbuster because, oh my goodness, he's so good, dude. Especially if you play him right. We have Quake, don't use her at all. But if you play her at the middle location, you swap the position of each location. Which, I mean, I guess is okay, but if you play her not at the middle location, she's not really that good, kind of like Medusa. Scarlet Witch, she's pretty solid, and basically she replaces a location with a new one. So if you play her at a location that you don't like, she basically replaces it. It is a random location, so you can either get a worse or better location, who knows. But she's really solid, especially at a location you don't like. And it does work with Flooded. So if your opponent plays a Storm, you can play Scarlet Witch next turn and she'll just completely get rid of it. Sentinel, really well with Collector and Devil Dinosaur. On reveal, you get another Sentinel. So basically, So basically, when you discard them from your hand, you can't play them, then play a Carnage, because that doesn't work. You have to have him in your hand. So let's say you play a Blade. Blade destroys a Swarm. You get 2 copies that cost 0. And if you destroy those 0 cost swarms from your hand again, it's another 2 copies, and so on and so on and so on and so on. So if you're lucky enough to just keep destroying Swarm, you can get like 5, 6, 7 swarms that cost 0, which is OP, but I don't think you want that many. Wolverine, when you destroy him or discard him, he gets played at a random location. So for this one, you can either have him in your hand, maybe he gets destroyed from like a Yondu or something in your deck, or maybe you play a Carnage and destroy him. Anytime he's just destroyed, right, he gets played at another location, which can either help you or not help you, depending on the situation. Cloak's really good in movement decks as well. On reveal, the next turn, both players can move cards to where he's at, which is good if you have a movement deck, but it can also help your opponent out as well, because they can move their cards to where Cloak is as well. Of course, there's a really cool variant for him that I just love. We get Lizard, who's a strong 2 cost, but if your opponent has 4 cards where Lizard is, he gets -3, so it becomes a 2 and 2. However, if you use Enchantress with them, his ongoing gets eliminated, so he actually becomes pretty solid. Now onto 3 cost with Ironheart. You give 3 other friendly cards +2. Definitely see her a lot with with Wong decks, because Wong allows on-reveal abilities to happen twice, and with Ironheart, you basically just give it 6 friendly cards +2 power, which is really good. Of course, it's a baby variant, I love it. It's the base card. Morph. You don't really see a whole lot of morphs. He's not really that good. Even though he does become a copy of a random card in your opponent's hand when you play him, sometimes he can copy cards you don't want. Like sometimes he might copy an Infinite, which is really good, but other times he might copy like a Nova, and if you're not running a discard deck, it's really not that good. So it's kind of a hit or miss. Mystique, one of my favorite cards. If you played a card last turn that has an ongoing ability, she basically copies it. So if you play Iron Man and then you play Mystique, she gains Iron Man's ability, which is so strong. Same thing with like any other ongoing effects. So she works really well with Devil Dinosaur, Iron Man, like I said before, maybe Patriot. I just love her card. Bishop, if you play him and then you play any other card, he gains +1 power. Kinda like Angela, but not as strong in my opinion. But again, he is pretty good at the lower pools. Nakia, on reveal, the 2 leftmost cards in your hand gain +2 power. So it doesn't matter what card you have in your hand, the 2 on the left gain +2. If you only have 2 cards in your hand, they gain +2. If you only have 1 card, it just gains +2. So she's a very strong card to use, especially if you have good cards all the way over to the left in your hand. Patriot, one of my favorite cards. His ongoing is cards with no abilities have +2 power. Bro, you guys have seen the Patriot decks, they are so freaking good. Oh, I love him, he's such a good card. Rogue, who's also a really good card to use. She basically steals an ongoing ability from a random enemy card at the location she's played at. So if your opponent has like a really OP Devil Dinosaur, you can play Rogue, steal the ability, and then that Devil Dinosaur becomes its base power, and Rogue gets its ability. Same thing with Iron Man, and everything, dude, like she can ruin so many people's strats. However, if there are 2 ongoing cards there, it's kind of like a coin flip about which one she would take. Maybe she would take the ability you want, maybe she would take the ability you don't want. So, kind of a hit or miss, but she can definitely ruin your opponent's plans. Wolfsbane, she's really good at the lower pools because she gets +2 for each other card you have here. Definitely want to play her in 10 Eggs, which makes her a 7 power. Really good. I love this variant for her. This variant looks so sick. Here is her base that has been split with the rainbow background, and is just a base with the infinite border. Now we get Lockjaw. When you play a card here, you swap it with a card in your deck. Lockjaw is a really good card with Lockjaw decks. So basically, with Lockjaw decks, people play Lockjaw, and then they play like really low cost cards, but they have high cards in their deck. So then you can swap out like a Wasp for like an Infinite with like nothing, dude. Like, it's crazy. So Lockjaw can be really good, or sometimes he's not that good because you might want to play a card there, but then Lockjaw switches it out because that's his ability. So I have seen some really strong Lockjaw decks though. Mr. Fantastic, his ongoing is at adjacent locations gain +2. Definitely want to play him down the middle because then the left to right locations gain +2 as well. Punisher, this variant I love. You got it in the same season with the Misty Knight one, which I still believe is the Daredevil season. His ongoing is at +1 for each opposing card at this location. So if your opponent's trying to force stack, maybe you play Punisher and Mojo, and if your opponent force stacks and you force stack, that's some pretty good power going right there. Of course, here it is split and is his base. Now we get Storm, whose on reveal is that you flood the location, and when you flood it, this is the last turn cards can be added here. And then of course when it becomes flooded, cards can't be added here at all. Very good if you want to secure a location, like if you're full sending it in on one location, play Storm on turn 3, and then you have like a Jessica Jones on like turn 4, you basically win that location. There's nothing they can do about it unless they have Scarlet Witch or like a movement deck or something. Very strong, but here it is split. Here's her base, which looks so dope with the lightning. Captain America, his ongoing is your other card to get +1. He's pretty solid. See a lot of people use him when they force stack a location as well. Cosmo can be really strong if played right. On reveal abilities don't happen. So if you play Cosmo and your opponent plays some other card that can really stuff you over, his ability basically just negates it. So their ability just won't work. Ongoing abilities still happen, so like Devil Dinosaur could be really good, but other cards just get completely negated by it. Now we have Debris. On reveal, you add a rock to each other location for both players, which seems pretty bad, but if you run it in a Patriot deck, this rock actually gains some power to it. Plus, on the flip side, it can disrupt some of your opponent's moves because it fills up a location with a rock. So, Debris can be really, really good. Doctor Strange, very good in movement decks, move your highest power cards to this location. However, if he is the highest power card, obviously he can't move himself, so you kind of have to play this pretty strategically. But again, you have a Vulture, you move Vulture once, you play Doctor Strange, you can move Vulture again, and then, the possibilities are endless. We have Groot, another Guardian. If your opponent played a Guardian, he gains +3. Literally the exact same as the other ones. Juggernaut, who basically wins you a lane. If you play him with Storm, and then you play Juggernaut on turn 4, so let's say you play Storm on turn 3, Juggernaut on turn 4, and you're already winning the location, he basically wins you it because if your opponent plays a card, it just moves him to a random location, so it definitely disrupts a lot of your opponent's plans, and he can basically just win you a lane. Killmonger, destroy all one cost, whether it's on your side or your opponent's side, can be really good if your opponent's running like a swarm deck. It can just completely nullify it. We have Rhino, ruins this location, which basically just turns it into this. It just has no ability to it. Vulture, a staple in a movement deck. When he moves, +5 power. So good, dude. He can become become easily your highest power card just by moving him like 2 times. It's insane. Cyclops, a staple basically in a Patriot deck, doesn't have an ability, which is what makes him so good at a 4 power. Hulkbuster, was talking about him before, but he merges with a random friendly card. So if you have one card there, it's guaranteed to merge with it. If you play him and there's no other card there, he doesn't merge, he just stays as Hulkbuster. But if you have like 2 cards, he basically just picks a random card to merge with. So if you merge him with Vulture or Multiple Man especially, and you running a movement deck, move him, they just become so strong. Kingpin, if a card moves to his location on turn 6, it just gets destroyed. I mean, he does have a similar ability with the Fisk Tower. However, it basically makes the location Fisk Tower. If you move a card there, on turn 6, it just gets destroyed. And if you don't know, Fisk Tower is when a card moves to this location, it gets destroyed. So it's basically the same thing, except his is only on turn 6. Lady Sif discards the highest cost card. Very good with discard decks with Hela. Because if you have like an Infinite, you destroy Infinite with Lady Sif, then you're basically guaranteed to get a really strong card if you play Hela on turn 6. Sabretooth, when he's destroyed, you get him and he becomes a 0 cost. Very, very good with discard decks. There's a variant for him which looks sick. Thor, he gets Mjolnir into his deck. And then of course when you play Mjolnir, Thor gets +6, so he becomes a 10 power. A lot of people love running Thor with Mighty Thor, because as you guys will see, Mighty Thor's ability works hand in hand with Thor. Of course, here is his baby variant, which looks pretty cool. We get Deathlock, destroys other cards at this location, kind of like what Carnage does. However, Carnage gains power for each card destroyed. Deathlock just destroys him straight up. Swordmaster, exactly the same as Blade. I mean, he is a 6 power, which makes him one of the strongest 3 costs. Again, good with discard decks. Onto the 4 cost, Mr. Negative, who's been hit with a bunch of nerfs recently. He is a -1, but you swap the power and cost of all cards in your deck. So if you have an Iron Man in your deck, and you play Mr. Negative, Iron Man becomes a 0 cost of 5 power, on top of what his ability offers is pretty good. However, Mr. Negative with the -1 kinda does prove a liability in order to win a location. Jubilee, also one of the better 4 cost cards. When you play her, you also play a random card from your deck. So you can play Jubilee, her ability activates, you might get America Chavez or Infinite or maybe a Hulk from your deck, and it's like bang. So she basically takes up 2 spots in a location, but if you play the card you want, she can be really good, dude. Of course, here's her variant Split. I didn't even notice it was a variant. I've been using this so much I thought it was her base, but her base is this. Sandman, when you play him, both players can only play 1 card a turn. Very good if you want to disrupt an opponent who's looking to play multiple cards on turn 5 or 6. However, this can also backfire on you, so you got to be pretty careful, especially since he is also a 1 power. Wong, one of the stronger cards in the game. His ongoing is that other on-reveal abilities happen twice. You see him a lot. You see him so much. If you play Wong on turn 4, then you play Ironheart on like turn 3. Oh, excuse me. You play Ironheart on like turn 5 or something like that, right? Ironheart's ability will activate twice. Or you play like White Tiger. Her ability will activate twice. You see him as well with Odin, because then Odin's ability will activate twice and then just becomes like this crazy cycle. So Wong can be really strong. Shang-Chi also pretty strong because he destroys all enemy cards that have 9 or more power. So if your opponent thinks they're winning a location and then you play Shang-Chi, it can completely destroy them. Spider-Man, opponents can't play cards at this location next turn. Very good to secure a location, especially if you play him on this is a really cool variant that I ended up getting. It looks so sick. Here's his base. And of course I did it again. I accidentally clicked out. But this is where we were. Crystal, haven't used her, but if you play it at the middle location, shuffle your hand into your deck and draw 3 cards. So if you don't like the cards that you have, I guess you want to play her at the middle, but she's not really, like, you wouldn't really play her a whole bunch. Enchantress are a really good card to use, especially in my no ongoing deck, because she removes the abilities of all ongoing cards. So again, you play like Lizard, or Typhoid Mary, or Red Skull. She removes all their like setbacks, so they just become really strong cards. Jessica Jones, her Pixel variant, if you don't play a card next turn, she gains +4. Or if you don't play a card at her location. So if you use her with like Storm, right? Drop Storm on turn 3, Jessica Jones on turn 4, you like literally can't play a card next turn, so she will automatically just gain that +4, which makes her really strong. Of course, here is her base art. Kazar, your 1 costs have +1. He's really good in like pool 1, pool 2, if you are using a swarm deck, because he can basically just overwhelm your opponents, give your 1 cost some really good boosts. Moon Girl, the steampunk variant, you duplicate your hand, which works really well if you have like a Devil Dinosaur or Collector. However, you don't want to use her if you already have a full hand, because it's not going to duplicate all of your cards. If you don't know, you can only have 7 cards in your hand, so if you have 3 cards, that's probably the most ideal time to use her. And you might even have some good cards that you want to play twice. Like maybe you have, let's see, maybe you have, like Sentinel or something, right? And you play Moon Girl, you can play 2 Sentinels next turn, and you know, you keep getting Sentinels back while also playing Sentinels. I don't know, so she can be really good. Here is a base card, Strong Guy, sorry, who is actually pretty underrated, because if your hand's empty, he gains +6, which is pretty good in like, well, he used to be pretty good in certain discard decks. However, most people don't really empty their hand, so it's kind of difficult for him to gain that +6, but when you do, he's really good. Of course, the featured card and brand new card for this season, Miles Morales Spider-Man. If any card, whether your opponent or you, moves, this costs 1, which can be good and is almost like a borderline staple for movement decks, because since your cards are always moving, he will just constantly be 1 cost, which is really good, especially at 5 power. Then we have Namor. If he's the only card at this location, he gains +5, so he becomes a 10 power. Can be good. However, if your opponent like 4 stacks the location, they're easily going to beat you. And then if you have to play a card where Namor is, he loses that +5, so he's not as strong. Warpath, who's really freaking good. If any of your location's empty, he gains +4, which is really good if you're playing like an aggro deck. Because if you're full sending on 1 location, again, you have like a storm or something, and you play Warpath on turn 4, maybe you're waiting to play Infinite on turn 6, so you skip and then you play Infinite, you're like, this card is going to be really good. Hellcow is stable, absolute stable in discard decks, because they discard 2 cards. And if this discards 2 cards, it's also really strong at 6 power. We have Rock Slide, basically the same as Korg, except it shuffles 2 rocks instead of 1 into your opponent's deck. We have The Thing, who's pretty good in Patriot decks because, again, no ability, but he's pretty strong. Here is a variant for him that I got pretty early on and does look pretty cool. White Queen with the rainbow background. Draw a copy of the highest cost card in your opponent's hand. Does work well with like a Devil Dinosaur / Collector deck, but also you get the highest cost card in your opponent's hand, so you kind of know what they might play on turn 6 if you get a 6 cost. Or maybe it kind of backfires because maybe they're holding like a bunch of really low cost cards. So who knows? Of course, here's her base, Hobgoblin. And speaking of Hobgoblin, it starts the 5 cost. But basically, when you play him, your opponent gets control of it. So your opponent gets -8. I would not recommend using him with Cosmo because I've seen it and done it where you play it at a location with Cosmo. Since he has an on-reveal ability, Cosmo stops on reveal, so you keep this card. So that's just a word of the wise. However, other than that, you can also play him with Daredevil, so you know where to play Hobgoblin in case your opponent might be playing a Cosmo on turn 5 as well. Then we have Iron Man, who has a really strong ability. Basically, the power is doubled at this location. He is so good if you're already winning. Of course, we get this variant, which is iOS exclusive for, I believe, pre-registering with Marvel Snap. Android users get this really cool Hulk one that's like this, same art style, but for Hulk, which looks really cool. And of course, we get this one with the rainbow background that was from the same season with Agent 13 and Nick Fury, I believe. Here is it as well. This one also looks pretty cool. And again, I keep clicking out of it, but White Tiger. Her on reveals that you add a 7-power Tiger to a random location. Of course, with Wong, it'll activate twice. With Odin, like it can just keep going on and on, so you can just get like a bunch of 7-power Tigers. Blue Marvel, who originally was a 6 cost, but then they buffed him to a 5. Other cards get +1, which is really good at the lower pools. Like, he is almost a staple at the lower pools. So the fact that they nerfed him actually makes him like really much more better at the lower pools. Devil Dinosaur, they nerfed him from a 4-0 to a 5-3, but that 3 actually really helps because he gets +2 for each card in your hand. So you definitely want to play him with a bunch of cards in your hand. Of course, here he is with the rainbow background. We have a Leech, who I don't really use, but you remove the abilities of all cards in your opponent's hand. So basically, if your opponent's running some really strong cards with like really strong abilities, you play Leech and they just become base. Like if your opponent has an Iron Man, you play Leech, they just become a 5 cost, 0 power, and you really can't use them. Professor X, really good at securing a location because he locks his location down. Cards can't be added, removed, destroyed, like anything. So if you play him at a location and you're winning, instant secure, like you've instantly won it. Claw, the location to your right has +6, so you definitely want to play him at a location to the left of the location that you're winning. You know what I mean? Very good at targeting multiple locations. Sarah, her Pixel variant, cards in your hand cost 1 less. She is actually really good. She's one of the meta cards in the game. Of course, here is her base that looks pretty cool as well. But the fact that you can play her on turn 5 and other cards in your deck cost less, she's actually really good. Captain Marvel, who's a bit of a tricky card to use, but basically, if she's down on the field and the game's over, she will try to move to a location where she thinks she can win. So if you're at like 20, 21 at one location and you're at like, I don't know, 19 and 10 at another, 0-0 at another or something, if she's on the field, she will try to move to the location to win. However, if she knows she's not going to win, then, she's not going to move at all. Very tricky to use, but, I guess very tricky to explain, but if you play her, you guys will get the hang of her. Gamora, opponent plays a card here, +5. Really strong. She's probably the strongest Guardian, coming in at a 7 power as well. Nick Fury. This is Noir variant, which looks sick, but when you play him, you get 3 random 6 costs, which always seem to be the same. It always seems to be like a Thanos, Infinite, and then like Gigantor or something. I don't know, so you can either get 3 really good cards, or 3 not so good. Either way, you could only play one of them on turn 6. Here's his base. Of course, you could only get him in last season's Battle Pass. Spider-Woman, afflict all enemy cards with -1. Works really well with Odin, who will activate it again, and even Wong. So your opponent might think they're winning. You play Spider-Woman, you can just heavily debuff them. Here's a carnagized variant, which looks so sick, dude. This is the one you get within this season, and it looks awesome. We have Vision. When you play him, you can move him every turn. However, he is a 5 cost, so you can realistically only play him on turn 5 and move him once, unless there's cards or something that make him cost less. Arrow, move all enemy cards played at this turn. Move all enemy cards played this turn to where she's played at. Very good at if you think your opponent might win a location, you play her, and it kind of just drags them all away. Black Bolt, your opponent discards the lowest cost card in their hand, which I don't really use them a lot, but it might be good. But considering it's a 5 cost, I don't understand how that would work. Mighty Thor, like I was saying with normal Thor, she draws all cards that cost 0. So if you play Thor and you have Mjolnir in your deck, you play Mighty Thor. She brings Mjolnir out, and then you can play Mjolnir, and 60 costs 0. And then you could also use Mjolnir with Odin, because Mjolnir has an on-reveal effect, and you can just get this crazy powerful Thor. It's nuts. Abomination, pretty good for Patriot, especially since he has no ability, but he has a 9 power. Future Imperfect variant looks really cool. Here's his base. Red Skull, probably the strongest 5 cost at 15. However, enemy cards gain +2. Works really well with a 0 or an Enchantress, because you guys see me use them a lot in no ongoing decks. Now up to the higher cards, the 6 cost spectrum. Give your ongoing cards +2. So any ongoing card, or any card that's affected by an ongoing ability, they gain +2 power. Really, really freaking good, dude. Really good for Patriot deck and everything. And since on reveal, works well with a Wong or something. We have Hela. Play all cards you discarded from your hand to random locations. So again, she's one of these staples in a discard deck, because she can essentially just remove. Because if you discard a bunch of high cost cards like Gigantor, Infinite Hulk, she does work really well because she can bring them all back, play them at random locations, and you basically just win. She can be the trump card in a deck. Onslaught doubles your other ongoing effects at this location. Works really well with a Patriot or something, because Patriot is +2, makes it +4, and he's pretty solid at a 7 power. Apocalypse, when you discard him from your hand, he comes back into your hand with +4. Works well with Lady Sif, who automatically discards the highest cost card. And if you're lucky, Swordmaster and Blade might discard him as well, so he just keeps coming back with +4. Heimdall moves every card on your side, one location to the left. Almost a staple in movement decks because everyone uses them. However, if your cards are all the way over to the left already, it doesn't really work. Here is his GB variant, which looks sick. Odin, on reveal, he basically activates other on reveal abilities at this location. Works so well with Wong, who allows other on reveals to happen twice. So basically, if you have a white tiger, it'll already be activated twice because of Wong, and then emergency ability will activate again because of Wong. So then it'll be another 2 times. So you can have 6 freaking 7 power tigers, which is nuts. Ultron. Create 4 1-power drones at each other location. And again, I clicked out. But basically, almost as stable in Patriot decks because you can use him and these drones become so OP. And if you have a blank location, it just gets filled with these 1 power drones that just can become stupidly strong in a Patriot deck. America Chavez. Now she's split with the rainbow and she also has the sparkly effect. And you always get her on turn 6. Never before. So if you're running her, you basically know you're always going to get her on turn 6. And she's pretty solid coming at a 9 power. So she can almost like win you a location. And here's her base with the normal background. Excuse me, the rainbow. And this is her base with the normal. Hulk, no ability, but he comes in at a 12 power. So he can almost win you a location as well. Giganto, you can only play him at the left location. You can't play him at the middle or the right unless he's discarded by Hela. Then he can just come back at any location. But 14 power is ridiculous. Destroyer destroys all your other cards. So if you don't have a Cosmo down or an armor, he basically becomes the last card standing. But again, 16 is nuts. Infinite with the rainbow background. If you played a card on turn 5, you can't play him. So that's why you run cards like a Sunspot or like Storm with Jessica Jones or something to secure you that one location. And then you skip turn 5, Sunspot gets a ton of power, and then you can play Infinite. 20 power makes him, I believe, the strongest card in the game. And of course, here is the base with the infinite background. But I mean, yeah guys, those were all the cards in my deck so far in Marvel Snap. Definitely took me way longer than I thought to actually get through them all. But let me know what cards you guys have